What's up, everybody? Hello. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Halas. I'm a music writer.
Let me put my glasses on for this.
Ooh,
I'm Jim Love,
professional.
keynote and motivational speaker, and I look smarter when I wear these.
And this is the Hustling Sideways podcast. When we don't have amazing guests like we do every other week here on this show, we're also talking to you about the things that we go through as guys with businesses, side hustles, entrepreneurs, whatever name you want to call it.
Human things. Yes, we have shared experiences, and
Yes.
yeah, we do this every week, which is well, every 2 weeks, I guess, which is a blast, and it's just fun to chop it up about something different. And today, we're going to talk about the moment where we're like, oh, maybe I'm good at that thing, and
Yeah.
like enough where you provide value for it. And I think everyone has like Alan, you kind of said eureka moment of like, oh, this might be something I can actually do often as a professional, and I'm good at it. And I found that we all have like subjective moments. Sometimes people are like, that one thing. I'll give mine. I for the first couple of years had a routine where like the night before I did a talk, I would have to practice it, really kind of go through it, get to a spot where I was comfortable. And like one time I didn't have time to do that. I was like doing something the night before, and then I woke up and I was like, I just got to go do it, and I did it, and it was great. And I was like, oh, I guess I can do this. Like I don't
You
have to
felt
like,
like you're a pro, like a literal
yeah,
pro at that
it
point.
was really, like I had practiced enough the times leading up to that. I had put in what I needed to. And when I got there, I was really nervous about that because I was like, what if I mess up? But it was like riding a bike. You walk out and you do it and you're good. And I actually found that like the less, I don't want to say quote unquote prepared I was, but the less like I had really gone through that before, the more I was able to like ad lib in a way and be a little bit looser, which I appreciated.
Sure.
And now I do that more often. So like now when I go through something, I'm kind of writing in like specifics about that day that will help, but I'm not like practicing the talk. It's
Yeah.
more, here it is. So that was, I remember that was about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And I was at a high school. It was like a Monday morning and I just, Sunday night, things got, carried away and I just wasn't able to practice it. And I walked in and did it and it was great. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm onto something. Maybe this is it. And, that was for as a speaker, like obviously, that's your thing. Everyone kind of has their own prep thing. I definitely like my thing is I don't really like to have like anything to drink, the night before in terms of like alcohol. Like
Sure.
I want to make sure that my voice is good. Like all those things, I want to be like at my best. And then one time I had a couple beers the night before and I was still fine. So like you just
Yeah.
it's one of those things. But I still try and keep that part, but I don't practice or like keep to that nearly as much as I used to. And that
For
that was a
sure.
moment where I walked in. I'm like, oh, I guess I can do this without sort of this wild prep prior to it or being super nervous before I get in there.
Yeah, I think musicians call that, and comedians probably call that being in the pocket when you're
Oh,
you just know
yes.
that you can do it, you can go, you can do this with no hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely, I think, the moment is once you take
Yeah.
the training wheels off a little bit,
I
and
like
go
that.
for
It
it.
was a good way to put that because, like, I could get up right now and go do it, and like, so I was like, I'm a professional now. I went from like
Well,
this
I'm going to
being one
challenge you
thing.
on that, Jim. 20-minute keynote right now. Let's go for it. No.
Okay, yeah. How much time do we? Oh, 20. Okay,
20,
to
20. So,
be
sorry.
or not to be.
It would be amazing if you started with that.
All right.
Okay, well, that is a very good moment of knowing that's really being in the feeling of like, oh, I am literally a pro at this. Is being able to do that for sure. For
Mhm.
me, I am based around, like big events for sure. And for writing about music, like anybody can really sit down with a computer and write about music. It's not that hard. You just have to be kind of coherent about it, which I mostly do. But for festivals and for like press coverage and things like that, I think those are the big moments for me where I really feel like I am hitting milestones or I'm, getting that level of access that I wouldn't necessarily have if I was just a guy with a computer, right? So the big one for me, as much as I love Summerfest in Milwaukee, and they were really some of my first opportunities in like 2014. Mine is also about 7 years ago. It is Lollapalooza 2017, which is crazy to say that I've been to this many Lollapaloozas now. The first year that I got press access to Lollapalooza, and I had never been to the festival at all. And I walked in, and it was just an absolutely different level of like, not only like just the amount of partying and like massiveness of the festival. Like there's kids going crazy on like a Friday afternoon at like 12 o'clock. They're like raving to EDM and stuff like that. But the press access part of it I walked into the press tent, which one Summerfest doesn't have. So I walked into that and I was like, oh my God, whole new world. This is like, it felt like the first kid.
Summerfest doesn't have that. I'm surprised that there would be no tent for
No,
Christmas.
generally they just kind of like let you into the grounds for free. And I mean, you can go backstage and stuff, but it's not
Sure.
like Lollapalooza has like an actual village, right?
Yeah, interesting.
Um, so I walked back there and I felt like the new kid at a new high school because I was just like all these people like know each other and I'm here by my lonesome crashing on a friend's couch. But then I thought about it and I looked around and there are press tents for like Rolling Stone and Spotify and the Chicago Tribune is back there and they have their own like dedicated areas and there's celebrities walking around. There's musicians that because they have to
Mhm.
come in and do interviews, so they're walking through that area and like there's hospitality for them. And I was like, and I'm here, like little old me from Milwaukee with a laptop and shooting interviews on my phone and just trying to talk to anyone I can kind of thing. I was like, that was really, I think that first festival that was the one that I was like,
It's awesome.
okay, there's clearly something that is working here because I was
Yeah,
like, even if this doesn't happen again, if I didn't get to go back to the next year, which I
yeah.
thankfully have every year since, even if I didn't go back, I was like, well, you did it once. You made it here.
Did you feel like you belonged in that? Like was that like did that throw you off?
Totally didn't feel like I belonged at
Yeah,
all.
that's so
Even though
wild.
there's obviously like those big press tents that I was saying, like Rolling Stone, Spotify, all that stuff. Then there's like a general work tent where like everybody kind of can go into. And like I was in that and there was a lot more people like me and actually met some people that, have gone on to do some great things from there. But at the same time, like I didn't feel like, I didn't know where they were from. I didn't know who was from anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, okay, like I'm here. No, I have this little website. We're like
Hi
90 miles
everyone.
north of here. Yeah, totally.
You want a business
Like,
card?
yeah, oh dude, there was so much of that too of like, here's my little business card, here's my like WordPress website. I hope that you like it. Like, and them being like, cool, we work for a national media outlet,
Yeah,
like
right, right. That's
so I
cool.
think that
That's
was
legit though.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's for sure the moment because like I mean, like I said, like I'm watching, there's 100,000 people walking around the grounds and I'm of a select few that get to go to this thing like for free and go watch bands and
You
you're like,
know,
this is you get a taste of it. This is the real
yeah,
life thing,
100%. It's funny, kind of to your example, like I guess I'll give a different take as well. Like I've definitely had a moment where I had a lot of students line up to talk to me after I was done with something and like taking pictures with me. And I was I don't get why, I just gave a
Yeah.
talk, but like there's been like that first time that ever happened, that was weird. I was like, I'm
Feel
not
like a
like,
rock star, right?
yeah, and I'm not at all, obviously. So like that was interesting. And now I'm used to that. And I don't want to say that that sounds like I'm like a brag or something, but like
No, but
every now
it's
and then
it's
it's
part
like
of it.
a student's gonna want to come up and they related to something. But the first time that happened, I was like, whoa, what's
Yeah.
why are all these people coming up and take a picture? So that was cool. But I mean that was a lot of fun. And it showed like I was like, oh, I related to them in a way where they wanted to connect with me afterwards, which is cool. So
Yeah.
similar vibe because kind of like I was on a pedestal and I really didn't have to be.
For sure. And I will say too, with this podcast, the
Hmm.
first time that we did a live show at Marquette, I had a moment of like, oh my God,
We're
we are
doing
the reason that these people are coming here. You
that.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm so used to putting on shows. I know you do get up on stage all the time, but like for me, I'm like so used to putting on shows where somebody else is the like point of attraction. And then
Exactly.
I was like,
Yeah. And
wait,
it was
some of
cool.
you
Yeah.
guys.
I definitely had a couple of reflection moments where we've been there in the live show, especially when we've had like 30 or 40 people show up now. I'm like, this is the thing. We have
Yeah.
fans that are here to check it out, like a small number, which I'm with you. That was cool. From a podcast perspective, we'll just keep that going,
Yeah, I think we will.
into
And
next
that's
week.
a tease for next week
Yes,
when
it's coming, folks. It's
we'll have a
coming.
guest from Marquette University. So we'll have another episode of that too. So if you're hanging out next week, Thursday that this drops,
Come on by.
we will be at Marquette at the 707 Hub. We've never recorded those so close that we could actually like
I
call that.
know.
But
Yeah,
we're
what
there.
that means is that we're behind on recording. If a little behind the scenes, so that's why.
Oh, a little bit, little bit. In the meantime, though, thank you guys so much for listening. We want to know about when your moments are that you feel like you've made it, because one of the main things I ask on the show all the time.
Yeah.
But please keep checking out the show. Give us the 5-star rating. That actually really helps us in like the algorithm, I guess,
Sincerely.
apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's the only one you can legally give us is 5 stars.
Mhm.
We are also the Hustling Sideways podcast on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We're on TikTok. And I think I said them all. We're all over
All
the
the
place.
places, everywhere. Yes.
So
Find it. You can't find us. Something's wrong with you.
be a
Just say that.
friend, tell a friend about the show, and we will see you next time on the Hustling Sideways podcast. Jim.
Keep on hustling.